Hi, everybody. It's Matt again. And my gosh, it's been so long. It's been over a year since I last made a video. There's no real good excuse, but what had happened was I had been using a editing software called Filmora, and the company apparently released a new version of it and completely changed the user interface. And I can't find any of the tools that I used to use to make titles, to add music, to make transitions and all. And so this may be a raw video that I'm sending to you with very little editing. So I just want to let you know I'm alive, I'm out here, I'm okay. Um, a lot's been going on. Obviously, forefront of everybody's mind, I'm sure, has been the pandemic. And here in the U.S., things are slowly getting back to normal. I think we've got about 70% of the overall population with at least a first vaccination. We've been blessed because we are a wealthy nation that we've been able to get vaccines to available for anybody who wants them. And so that means that we have a lot more control over the pandemic than the virus than lots of other places. Unfortunately, though, there are a lot of areas in the US where the hospitals are full of people who have refused to get vaccinations. And so if I know that a lot of my viewers are over in the Philippines, and I've been tracking what's going on there by talking to my Filipino friends as well as my American and German friends that live there. And I know how desperate this situation is in some areas, particularly in Manila and Luzon in general, that there's extreme quarantine requirements still in place there. Some of my friends down in Davao, I think, are doing a little bit better. But the last I read, there's only about a 20% vaccination rate in the Philippines. And it's not because you don't want to be vaccinated, but because vaccines just aren't available. But I'm praying that all of these vaccines that are being bought extra by the Western developed world are going to be starting to pour into the Philippines. If you are anybody there that in the Philippines who has doubts about the vaccine, please. I was vaccinated fully by April. I've had no side effects. I don't know anybody who's had any negative side effects other than having a sore arm for like 12 hours. That was about it. Some people have said they had flu-like symptoms for a day or two, but otherwise, this is the best way to make sure that you will not become severely ill from COVID. You may still get the virus, but once you're vaccinated, you're almost guaranteed that that is not going to be anything worse than a mild case of the flu. Here in the US, as I mentioned, about 90% of the people that are in the intensive care units with COVID are people who refuse to get vaccinated. So anyway, moving on. I'm praying for everybody over in the Philippines, the rest of the world as well, who are waiting to get their chance to get vaccinated. And I pray that that will happen for you sooner than later. Other things going on here. Obviously, my career as a tour director in the travel business has been severely curtailed by this pandemic. And so for the last year, I've been working at Amazon in a warehouse job, very simple work, very repetitive work, but thank God Amazon has great benefits. I've had healthcare benefits and so forth. I've had a regular income, and so I'm very grateful for the job, although it's not what I would want to do for the rest of my life. In talking to the people that run the tour company that I've been working for, we should be back to work in May, so I'm crossing my fingers for that. Other big things that have happened, just to catch you up on what's going on in my life. Sadly, back on Mother's Day, my mother, who was 91 at the time, had a fall and lots of aches and pains, no breaks or anything, but it required her to go over into the rehabilitation unit there in the senior center that she was living in. She started getting better, getting up on her back, ready to move around, but she decided to get up without any aid one day and try and hang up some clothes late one night and fell again. And this time she really banged up her head, and it was bad enough that we moved her over to the emergency room. And there, while they did a CT scan, they discovered that she may have been having some small strokes that may have explained the balance problems. Bottom line is, she spent more time in the hospital. While she was there, she became infected with pneumonia, and in her already weakened state, it just started a spiral. And unfortunately, on July 5th, my mom passed away. And I have been adjusting since then. I realize, because I was seeing her virtually every day, talking to her several times a day, that mom had gone from being mom, just mom, to really being one of my best friends, if not my best friend. And I miss her a lot. So that's been an adjustment. And so life is a little different now. I'm living in what was the home that belonged to her and my father. And now suddenly, without any immediate family living right here, I do have a nephew nearby and some others, about a half an hour away. But it opens new doors. And so now I'm going to have to think about whether I keep this home and the expenses that go along with it and the responsibilities, whether I whether I sell this home and use a little bit of that money to find a smaller place, and maybe even use part of that money to give myself a permanent footprint, like a condo or something in the Philippines, because I've long thought about how I'd like to spend my winters in the Philippines and maybe even eventually permanently live in the Philippines. Lots of thoughts there, lots of other things cooking. So I'm just looking around and trying to figure all of that out. So keep me in your prayers as I look for discernment in how I do everything going forward in the future. It's hard, would be hard to leave this town that I live in here in Ohio, because I have lots of friends here, a lot of activities that I'm involved in, a church family that I'm very attached to. And so there's a lot of thought going on there. I think that kind of covers what's been going on here. About my work situation, my mother's passing, and just things I'm considering right now. I want to know what's going on for all of you. So if you're watching my video, wherever you are in the world, let me know where you are down in the comments section. And tell me, how have you been getting through the pandemic? Have you been working? Have you been without work? Have you stayed healthy? Have you gotten vaccinated? If you've not gotten vaccinated, when do you think you might be able to get vaccinated? Or are you against vaccines? All those are interesting questions I'd love to know. And I don't want a political argument about vaccines. Please, just respect everybody's opinion, and I will share mine, and we'll go from there. Just know that I'm praying for everybody out there during this difficult time. I will be thinking about new videos to do, so hopefully I'll get more out there, and I'll learn how to use this software to its best extent. And everybody just stay safe, be kind to each other. Right now, I think in our political world, we need to pray for people to be more we-oriented than me-oriented. I think a lot of people are being very selfish out there, and we need to think more as a society, and how do we help each other? How do we not worry so much about how much do I have, but how much can I give? Anyway, that's where I'm coming from. I hope you are all well. Bye-bye.